Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Okay, so before we start, everything I say in this video is my opinion only, as per usual. Please feel free to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. There are some trigger warnings in here. There is talk of SA. There is talk of possibly hurting themselves. Yeah, so if this video is not something you would be able to manage, please feel free to come back to the next video after I've done these ones. This video I'm going to go over now is of Joanne Cochran, and I admit I apologise if I botched that. She's actually reacting to a video that Katie is talking about. Now, the way that she talks about Katie and what Katie is talking about, I found absolutely out of order, because this is stuff that was experienced by Paris Hilton and is in the documentary. So I think that if we're going to hold Katie responsible for the things that she says and does online, then I think we're all sort of supposed to make sure that we are doing the right thing and we're not taking advantage and making situations to be a joke or not so serious. So with that, I'm going to just get on into it and let's do this. Okay, sorry. Okay, so before we get into this, let me just reiterate what I said. Everything I say is my opinion, mine alone. Please feel free to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. This, depending on how long I decide to go through it, is a very long video. If I do half of the video, it's going to be in 2 parts. If I do the whole video, it's going to be in 4. So just to be aware, I'll be breaking them down into like 40 minutes of what Joanne speaks about, and then with my own commentary it's going to be a little bit longer than that, so I'm expecting these to be quite long videos. And let's just get into it, shall we?
This is Sammy J's perfect time, isn't it? So the other thing is, I've got a late night ahead of me anyway, because I've got a...
By the way, I did miss a little bit at the beginning where it was a little bit of chatting, nothing to do with what was actually being said. Yeah.
I've got a report due tomorrow, and I've got some other stuff to do, so I've got to wait for all that to upload. So I thought, why not do this first, eh? So this Instagram, now this is interesting because Paris Hilton has mentioned. Now, whenever she talks about this, I always think it's breaking my silence. But we're talking about the wrong influencer.
Just a little bit. How could she mistake Paris Hilton for... Sure, I can't even think of her name now. Tati Westbrook. Okay. Don't even look alike. But oh well.
So, shall we get going? So, as I said, I need to give you a warning. Thanks for showing this, Joe, because her YouTube live made her almost seem human. Yes, she did. And when you see this and you see the YouTube, you've got like 2 different Katies, and they were within half an hour of each other. I swear, she jumped from this one to YouTube. All right, so let's go. As I said, this one is going to trigger. May trigger. All right. Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened. I guess it got paused. Okay, so anyways, welcome back. So there was a Dateline. Yeah, Natalie, it was yeah, look, I must say I got excited. I got excited too when I saw it, but then I realised it was an old filing. Oh, thank you, Pretend. Yeah, it's just, I'm feeling lots better now I got out the house. So she's talking about something serious, first of all. She's talking about something serious, and she's got this stupid filter on. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, Katie got a filter on, right? That's neither here nor there. But for some reason that becomes the butt of the joke throughout of this. From what I've seen anyway.
How can you take her seriously? So there was a lawsuit that was filed last week by Gloria Allred, and she is suing Turnabout Ranch, which is a school that is based in Utah, and it's a school that Dr. Phil has frequently sent his troubled teens. So you already know where this is going to go, right? Do you? You know where this is going to go? Yeah. Oops, did this just jump? Sorry. Gloria Allred, and she is suing Turnabout Ranch, which is a school that is based in Utah, and it's a school that Dr. Phil has frequently sent his troubled teens that come on the show. And Danielle Bergoli, who is Bad Baby, she spoke out about the abuse that she experienced when she was there, and talked about how when she was at... So you've got the general tone of this? Yeah, okay. Yes. Oh gosh, she's going to regurgitate this. Probably. Yes, she's probably going to regurgitate this.
So, okay. Within seconds of actually going into Katie's video, Joanne knew exactly what she was going to be talking about. Yeah, so that happened. Can it get much worse?
And she's going to probably regurgitate her YouTube live again. This specific place, Turnabout Ranch, was sent there by Dr. Phil. One of the kids that was there actually was in withdrawal and killed one of the staffers. So she talks about that. She talked about the experience that she had there. And I started looking into Dr. Phil. I tell you what, I got through this. This is my third time watching it. I watched it a second time and did a video on it, and I couldn't get through it all. So I'm so glad you're all here, because this isn't going to be pleasant. This is a half-hour video. 2 half-hour videos to go through with you tonight. Yeah, Dutch, I decided I'd been out and I've come home, decided that I've got to be up half the night, so I may as well spend the night with you guys. I'll have an afternoon nap. History of sending people to these schools. And the troubled teen industry is highly unregulated. It was actually founded by people from a cult. It's crazy. So back in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, there was this cult called Synonym. So when you look at her Twitter, she did about 8 posts on this actual. She did 8 posts on this actual topic. So this is all over her Twitter as well. Remember, this was Sunday when she was supposed to be having a nice quiet day with her family. It is a very serious issue, and one of the few I agree with her on. Unfortunately, it does touch on every topic she loves to hate. She even gets to throw hate at her subs daring to ask questions as well. Yes. I'm not saying that it's not an important topic. It is an important topic. However, we know that she likes to jump on bandwagons. And we know also that she tarnishes everybody with the same brush. So, because right at the end, she sort of infers that parents that send their kids there are sort of irresponsible. So, you know.
Okay, so it begins. The fact that Paris Hilton liked this post speaks volumes. I am not a fan of Katie's, as most of you know. Definitely not a fan. But this young lady, Joanne, does like to watch Katie's Instagram posts, frequently spending a number of hours going over them, and she's automatically decided that because Katie lies about most things, she's lying about this one, and then trying to use that to her advantage as a way to beat Katie down. And Katie doesn't need help to get into trouble. She does that enough all by herself. Seriously, she does.
Yeah. So anyway, let's keep going. Synonymous, or I don't even remember, or Synon. It's the most dangerous cults in the United States. The cult started out as like a place for, like, this guy was an alcoholic. He was really into AA, and he decided that he was going to start his own group. And it was supposed to be like a place for addicts that wasn't going to actually have therapists there. You're right there, Amber. The thing is, first of all, I can't take her seriously with that filter. Hey, Gail. Yeah, I came home from choir, decided to jump on. I can't take her seriously with that filter. And second of all, if she just said what she had to say and jumped off, we would be fine. But this goes on for 30 minutes. And as I said, she talks about it's Oprah's fault, and then it's Oprah's fault about Dr. Phil, and then Dr. Oz gets a mention. And I agree, Joe. I hate that filter so bad. Yeah, and like it's a serious topic. Why? No, we just need Rick. Yeah. Why? Why is my question. It's going to be like everyone holding everyone accountable, and they were going to like get things together. And they started this thing called The Game.
Why are they so caught up in the filter? It's a flower. It's kind of cute. How often can you say about that about Katie? It's kind of cute. Just a little flower. Hey, who am I?
And the game was where everyone would sit there and scream at each other. So it would be somebody's turn, and they would get yelled at by whoever was in this group and tell them all the things that they like. Now have a look at her hand, because I think she swapped her rings. I think she's got a wedding ring on her right hand and another ring on her left. Hello, Nana Kimber. But yeah, just see but as I said, you have to look at this one. No, I can't unsee it. It looks like a bug. It does actually. When we look at the YouTube one, you got two different Katies. It's really bizarre. Disliked about this person, whether it was real or imaginary, and destroy the person's self-worth, self-confidence, so that they could like completely tear down the person to like build them back up, right? And over the years, the cult evolved to not only doing the game where they would do this, but it also turned into physical violence. So in the 1970s, they started taking in juvenile delinquents, and they quickly realized that. And she touches it too.
Oh God, that laugh. No, she didn't touch the flower. It's a filter. Just a filter.
Oh dear. In them, and then it became this like inclusive cult where people were not allowed to leave. They had members have their heads shaved. They had forced castration of men, forced abortions of women. I did tell you that it was pretty graphic. So, as I said, I apologise. This is still mild. It gets worse. So, if you need to step away, I understand. And for those of you that think that she doesn't swear, she also starts on here too. So, this is a completely different person. No children were allowed to be born, and eventually the cult was disbanded because the leader and some of the other higher-ups tried to kill a lawyer that was filing lawsuits against them because people that were trying to escape.
I'm not actually 100% sure what Katie is actually speaking about now. I get it is some sort of cult, but I'm not sure which. I'm pretty sure this has nothing to do with the Paris Hilton situation at the moment, but I'm sure we're going to get this soon. They didn't want them to be sued, I guess, and so they put a frickin' rattlesnake in a mailbox. A rattlesnake in a mailbox, right? And the lawyer goes to get his mail. This is in the late 1970s, and he gets bit by the rattlesnake. You haven't, Nana Kimber. We're only 3 minutes 55 in. But she's just starting her rant. She's got to yell at her members yet. Yes, thank you, Gail. Charles Dietrich, he ends up going to prison for attempted murder, along with other people from this cult. And, the saying, today is the first day of the rest of your life, that's a saying that comes from that cult. So this cult leader, who is like crazy, he forced castration, forced abortions, he believed in literally, he believed that literally if you literally made people work hard and beat them up and... Well, this is the thing. Natalie. That's right. And I don't know how much of it is true because there's no sources quoted. I think she watched the documentary, from what I can work out. Tracy, this will be up. Yep. I'm not intending on having it go, Tracy. So it will be here. Physically tore them down and physically abused them. That somehow that this would help people, right? So anyways, all of these troubled teen industry schools started because after this disbanded, so after Synanon disbanded, former members of the cult decided that they were going to take the techniques that they had used in the game where they... Yeah. Awesome, thank you. Yep, great. Gail says, I may regret being on here with this KJ Live. I've seen the YouTube soon after and it was a totally different person. It is. That's what absolutely shocked me. I have no idea about this story, honestly. I shouldn't say anything. Well, neither do I, Natalie. But what I do want to say is, I don't know, I don't know what to think. But
there's no sources, there's no websites to read. Oh, she does mention, I was going to say breaking my silence. That's not the that's not the website. She's attached herself to the thing that Paris Hilton's doing. But can't wait for Katie to come up with a better rehabilitation solution. She doesn't have one. No. Apparently they need psychologists and psychiatrists, but not Dr. Phil. Would like berate people and then physically assault people. And
considering I do actually know the Paris Hilton story, I'm sure a lot of you do. Paris Hilton would have benefited much more with mental health help and counselling. I did watch the documentary. It was heartbreaking. When Paris describes being torn from her bed in the early hours of the morning and she thinks she's being kidnapped. No person should ever have to go through something like that. That is trauma on a major level.
Do whatever means necessary to get people to comply and to obey. They were going to use those on teens to try to rehabilitate them. And so this group and all of their little members created all these little schools where it's called Tough Love. And the kids are sent to these schools like Provo Canyon, the one that Paris Hilton went to, or the CEDU schools, so it's CEDU. This all stems from a cult. Yeah. So Paris Hilton has spoken out about it, from what I can understand. So this has all come about because of a lawsuit. She likes reporting about other people's lawsuits. And the people that started them are former cult members that use this technique to literally brainwash you, right? So what they do, I just told you about the Paris Hilton stuff, but we're not talking about just Paris Hilton. Miss C.H. Moss, 19, and also in the middle of a conversation, so I'm sorry, but Paris went to Provo Canyon School, and it all comes from the same origin. There you go. Someone just got told off. And so now what happens in the chat is that there's a big argument that happens in the chat, and then chat gets turned off because what she's saying is important. If a person is one personality on a live and then literally moments later is a totally different personality on another live, yes. KJ, pay attention, you all. I am talking. That's what it is. And then she goes, this is serious. And I'm going, you've got a stupid filter on. How can I take you serious? I can't take you seriously.
Again with the filter. Like, you haven't got better things to call her out on? Because I could probably think of 30 just off the top of my head. I'm not going to because I just can't be bothered. But, no, the filter's not it.
I wish I was a punk rocker with flowers in my hair. That's all I think about.
Earplugs, everybody. Not whether for the laugh or the singing.
All of these schools start popping up all over the world, all over the country, right? And they realize that this all starts like getting really big in the 80s and 90s, okay? And once they get from the 80s and 90s, oh look, we've got Jessica Girl and Jessica. Jessie's Girl. And she's wearing a Norwegian Oceanic, yes, flag shirt. She is, yes. One of the comments is that she likes They like the shirt. And it's interesting because Paris Hilton, when we go back, we'll look at the comments. Paris Hilton has actually liked her video. So it's been kept up. Hello, Sunshine Lady. Double Jessicas.
Well, yeah, I would assume that since Paris Hilton liked the video, that Katie didn't say anything that was suable. Maybe? Or maybe I'm missing something and Paris Hilton would like something that is spreading lies about her. Again, maybe I missed something.
All of these schools, there's like so many of them. There's over 50 of them. There's over 50 of them in like, think of it this way, there's over like 50 of them in Montana because there was no regulations at the time. I don't know if there's regulations yet in Montana, but kids are dying in these places. Kids are, they're dying in these schools. They are being forced to sleep outside. They're being forced to lay on, beds that are made of wood. They're forced to stay in 5x7 rooms. There are hundreds of these facilities. Now remember that it's based on one facility. There's one facility that's been sued, but now all of them are bad. And she actually makes some comparisons, which gets really bad. It's all across the country. Now, Utah has like over, I don't even know, hundreds, maybe thousands. And so the schools, the problem with Utah.
Now, there's a possibility that the one is connected to others which could also be involved in the case. That could be a possibility. But she seems pretty hung up on calling Katie out as a liar. Now, as stated before, I am not a fan of Katie's. Katie does enough damage to tarnish her own name. She doesn't need anyone's help in twisting Katie's words to make her look even worse. To be fair, she can't get much worse anyway.
Is that Utah has literally no regulations. Same with Montana. And what she just said she wasn't sure whether Montana had regulations or not, just out of her mouth. And now she's saying, I'm not sure. Do you know what? This is so much easier watching this with you guys here.
So much easier how? You've already watched it twice. And this is supposed to be a live reaction, so the fact you've watched it twice in the beginning, you kind of failed there.
So they go to the specific states that lack regulations. So some states will say that if you're a private facility, they can't do anything, even if it's even if it involves children, as long as it's a private entity and they don't get any federal funding or any state funding, no one can dictate what they do or say to these kids. So, anyways, the problem is because no one's regulating these places, so much abuse is happening at these places. So nobody. Yeah, I had to watch it twice on my own. I couldn't do it the second time. Yeah. She thinks people are feeling her at the moment. She thinks they are relenting. I think she got it wrong. He says, just Jeanette, yeah. So, from what I can work out, there's been a lawsuit filed about one particular school where there have been, I believe that there are allegations. That there have been allegations of certain things happened. So, they're being sued. Dutch Spirit says KJ still presents her story as fact without any proof or receipts. That's right. Well, that's my whole point. Is that from what I can know, there's a lawsuit involving one of the school with one or two of the students, but that doesn't mean that they're all bad, and it doesn't mean that all of this stuff happens. There might be people telling their story, but unfortunately, everyone's tarnished with the same brush. Is keeping track of the kids that are.
Now, I honestly think before doing this video, she should have gone and watched the Paris Hilton documentary, because at least have some idea of what you're talking about, woman. Please. The common decency to know what you're talking about. This is a serious subject. This is like, why? Why can you not just know exactly what you're talking about? Because this is what happens.
Nobody knows what happens to the kids once they get there. And a lot of these families, what they do is they abduct the kids at night. So this was another thing that came from that cult, where they would take people under the cover of darkness and they would abduct them because they felt like... Yes, and that's the other thing. And it's from 10 plus years ago. And she started off by talking about stuff that happened in the 70s. So I got really confused. But you know what? I'll just stop for a moment. Because I love The Simpsons, right? I really love The Simpsons. There was an episode where Bart and Lisa go to a place called Camp Krusty. They're busting to go to Camp Krusty. They beg their parents, can we go to Camp Krusty? Can we go to Camp Krusty? And they get to Camp Krusty, and their food was taken away from them. They had to sleep on wooden boards. They had to do hard work. And what KJ...
Is this woman for real? She's talking about an actual incident where something really genuinely happened and comparing it to the Simpsons. The Simpsons. Paris Hilton actually went through real trauma at this place, torn from her bed at night, believing she was being kidnapped. And this person thinks it's okay to compare that, a real person's experience, to an episode of The Simpsons.
Describing here is exactly what that Simpsons